Beneath the midnight veil, the small town of Ravens Hollow was perpetually shrouded in a fog that lingered like a specter, wrapping itself around the crooked cobblestone streets and weathered rooftops. The townsfolk rarely spoke of the past, as if the mere mention of what had transpired in the heart of the forest could summon it anew. Yet, the forest beckoned with an almost sentient allure, its ancient trees reaching skyward like skeletal fingers, their gnarled roots buried deep in secrets. It was here that Eliza Baines found herself, clutching a lantern that flickered with defiance against the oppressive darkness. Eliza, a newcomer to Ravens Hollow, had come to escape the weight of her own secrets. Her past was a puzzle she carried in shards, fragmented and jagged, but it was better left unsolved, or so she told herself. The townsfolk had warned her against venturing into the forest after dusk. They spoke in hushed tones of the Wraith, a shadow that moved with intent, whispering promises of salvation to the desperate and deranged. No one who followed its voice returned, and those who claimed to have seen it were left hollow-eyed and trembling, their sanity fractured. Eliza didn't believe in wraiths or curses. She was a pragmatist, shaped by the harshness of the world, and the whispers of the townsfolk were, to her, the mutterings of a populace too afraid to challenge the unknown. It was a dare, one issued by herself, to herself, that led her to the forest's edge on this particular night. The crescent moon hung high, casting a pale glow that barely pierced the canopy. As she stepped into the woods, the air grew heavier, laden with the scent of damp earth and decay. The trees seemed to close in around her, their branches forming an intricate lattice that blotted out the stars. She hadn't gone far when she heard it. A faint melody carried on the wind, haunting and beautiful. It wasn't the kind of tune one forgot. It seemed to weave itself into her mind, pulling at something buried deep within. Eliza hesitated, her pulse quickening. She wanted to turn back, but her feet moved forward, guided by the melody that promised answers to questions she didn't know she had. As she ventured deeper, the forest transformed. The trees grew taller, their trunks twisted and blackened, as if scorched by fire. The ground beneath her feet was soft, almost spongy, and the air grew colder with each step. The melody grew louder, now accompanied by whispers, soft, indistinct, yet undeniably there. "Who's there?" Eliza called out, her voice trembling despite her best efforts to sound brave. The whispers ceased, replaced by a silence so profound it pressed against her ears. Then a figure emerged from the shadows, its form obscured by a cloak that seemed woven from the night itself. The Wraith. Eliza froze, her breath caught in her throat. The figure tilted its head as if studying her, and then spoke in a voice that was both a whisper and a roar. "You seek what lies buried, do you not?" Eliza couldn't move, couldn't speak. The figure extended a skeletal hand, its bony fingers tipped with claws that gleamed like obsidian. "I can give you what you desire," it continued, its voice dripping with a seductive promise. "But all gifts come with a price." Eliza's thoughts raced. She didn't know what she desired. Freedom from her past, perhaps? Or the truth she had buried so deep she scarcely remembered it. Yet, as she gazed into the void where the Wraith's eyes should have been, she felt a pull she couldn't resist. "What price?" she managed to whisper. The Wraith's laughter was a low, guttural sound that seemed to reverberate through the very fabric of the forest. "That is for you to discover," it said. "But know this, once you accept, there is no turning back." Eliza's lantern flickered, and for a moment, the darkness seemed alive, writhing and shifting around her. She swallowed hard and nodded. "I accept." The Wraith raised its hand, and the forest erupted into a cacophony of sound and light. Eliza fell to her knees, clutching her head as memories surged forth. Memories she had long since buried. She saw herself as a child, hiding in a cupboard as her parents argued, their voices rising until a single gunshot silenced them both. She saw the years that followed, a blur of foster homes and hollow promises, until she found herself in Ravens Hollow, seeking solace in the solitude of a town that seemed as broken as she was. When the chaos subsided, Eliza was alone in a clearing, the Wraith nowhere to be seen. In her hand was a black stone, smooth and cold to the touch. She didn't know what it was, but she felt its power, pulsing like a heartbeat. She stumbled back to town, her mind a haze. The townsfolk watched her with a mix of fear and curiosity as she passed, the black stone clutched tightly in her hand. That night, Eliza dreamed of the wraith, its voice echoing in her mind. "The stone holds the truth," it said. "But the truth I